Chapter 4 Mughal Empire Establishment and Extension Part 2.
Relations of Mughals with other rulers. When Humayun had escaped, even the Hindu rulers gave him shelter. Therefore, their culture was reflected in the upbringing of Akbar. He took the help of the Hindu rulers when he ascended the throne. He knew that he would not be able to rule in India if he ignored the Rajput rulers. Therefore, he maintained a good relationship with the Rajput rulers and won their confidence. The rulers who did not accept his authority had to face him. The rulers of Sisodia Rajputs did not accept his rule and had many confrontations with him. Now, what happened when Humayun escaped for 15 long years when Sher Shah Suri attacked Delhi and he became the king and established the Suri dynasty? For those 15 years, Humayun escaped, and when he was escaping, uh, Hindu rulers helped him a lot and they gave shelter to him. And this showed an entire effect on the upbringing, on the socialization, on the development of Akbar as a child, because for those 15 years he was in constant connections with this Hindu culture. And Hindu rulers who has supported Humayun, and Humayun was also having a very good relationship with them, because Humayun was knowing that if he do not take support of these Rajputs, then his survival in India, in Hindustan, will not be possible. So he has to take this Rajput into confidence and take the further decisions. But the Rajputs like Sisodia Rajput, who do not give any support to him and who did not give any help or extension, or he was not able to gain the confidence of this Sisodia Rajput, there was a confrontation with him. Okay, so Humayun was having a very good relationship with Rajput because he was knowing that they will be to helpful to him in future, because with ignoring them he cannot rule over India. The tradition of inheritance. The king was responsible for appointing the successor of the kingdom, and it would be usually be the oldest son. During the Mughal rule, all the sons would get an equal share of the empire. The king of the hierarchy was implemented during Humayun's regime. After that, rulers conspired against each other for the throne. Brother would quarrel with one another for the throne, and whoever won ascended the throne of Delhi. Now, tradition of inheritance means who would take the charge of the position as a king. Usually, when the king would appoint his successor, and his successor would be the oldest son. But during the Mughal rule, it was during an Humayun's period. It was said that everyone would get an equal share in the empire, and after getting an equal share in an empire, they would create a conspiracy amongst each other, and whosoever win in those conspiracies, in those things, would ascended the throne of Delhi. Conspiracies means पता है षड्यंत्र. हर एक को अपना इक्वल रूल एरिया मिल जाता था, बट देन एक दूसरे के खिलाफ साजिश करना, षड्यंत्र करना, और जो उसमें जीत जाता था वो दिल्ली पे राज करने लग जाता था. So this used to happen. Now we'll see administrative system during the Mughal age. The Subedari system was implemented during the Mughal period. Akbar divided his kingdom into 15 sections. So Subedari system started during the Mughal period, and the kingdom used to be divided into 15 sections. Each section was known as Suba or province. The Suba section of Suba was called government, and the Suba section of the government was known as Pargana. Now, each kingdom was divided into 15 sections. These sections were known as Suba. Now these Suba used to have their own government, and the Suba section of government, that means the Suba part of the government was known as a Pargana. The head of each Pargana was called Amir, and who would collect the revenue, and this Amir was responsible for the collection of the revenue. So the kingdom, I will repeat again because this is important to understand. Kingdom was divided into 15 sections. These sections were known as Suba or province. The subsection of the Suba, that means other part of within that there was a subsection which was known as Suba of government. That Suba of government was known as Pargana. So we would have Suba, then the subsection of the Suba would call Pargana, then the Pargana would have each Pargana. The head of each Pargana was known as Amir, and this Amir was responsible for the collection of the revenue. There were Gram Panchayats in the village, and the head was known as Patel, Chaudhry, Mukdam, Mukadam, etc. Thus, during that time, various executives were appointed. So, these Gram Panchayats were also there in the village, and the head of these villages were known as Patels, Chaudhry, Mukadam, etc. And various executives were also appointed in the Gram Panchayat. Now, at this point in time, these are known as surnames, but these are the positions in the Gram Panchayat during that time. During Akbar's regime, pilgrim tax were not levied. So when Akbar was ruling, pilgrim tax, that means the people who go for yatra, the taxes was not taken from them. Thus, there would be a huge crowd in the pilgrim center. Akbar was considered to be the most tolerant and benevolent king among all the Mughal rulers. So he was very loved king, and he was a very liberal king. He regularly organized religious meet in the prayer hall at Sikri. It was also called discussion hall as religious matters were discussed there. Representatives from all the religions attended the meeting. The royal court was adorned by scholars. So since Akbar was a loved king, he used to organize religious meetings in the prayer hall of Fatehpur Sikri, and this prayer hall was also considered to be a discussion hall because various matters related to religions were attended and discussed by various scholars in this royal court. And his court was having uh, lot of clever people were there in his court. It is also always been said that Akbar was having the 9 gems in his court. No Ratna. No Ratna. No means 9. Ratna means gems. So 9 gems of Akbar's court were Todarmal, the revenue minister, Mansingh, the leader of Daksha army, Abul Fazl, the historian and writer of N.A. Akbari and Akbarnama, Tansen, the famous singer, Mullah Do Pyaza, the clever and a jolly courtier, Mahesh Das Birbal, the quick witty courtier and trickster, Hamam, the famous Vaidya physician, Faizi, the renowned poet, and Abdul Rahim, the Hindi verse writer. So these are the names and the work these Noratna used to do. Okay, so his 9 gems name is this, and they used to do this all work in his court. Reforms made by Sher Shah. Sher Shah ruled over Delhi for 5 years. He introduced many reforms during this short span and is therefore better known as a reformer than a warrior. For 5 long years, Sher Shah Suri ruled over Delhi, and during this short span of his rule over Delhi, he had made many reforms, and more than a warrior, he was known for the reforms that he had made. With Todermal's help, he prepared a table for revenue collection based on the type of a land and production. Akbar followed the same method for revenue collection. He removed the toll booths so that there could be a free transportation of goods. He constructed roads to increase trade for the convenience of pedestrians, among which the famous roads were constructed between Agra and Burhanpur, Agra and Marwar, and Lahore and Mulan. Now, during his short span of rule over Delhi by Sher Shah Suri, he has done many reforms, and some of his landmarking reforms are the way he collected revenues. So, revenue used to be collected from the people based on the type of land they have, how productive land they have, and how much productions their land is giving. So based on that type of land and its production, revenue used to be collected. Revenue was not collected unanimously. It was only and only dependent upon the type of land and the production they are getting out of it. Akbar also followed the same method of revenue, and Sher Shah Suri has created this method of revenue collection with the help of Todarmal. He has constructed many roads also, so that this road would increase the trade, and also it is convenient for the travelers, the people who are using and going from one place to another place. Okay, so pedestrian, the one who walks and go, is known as. So the road he has constructed are these three: Agra and Burhanpur, Agra and Marwar, and uh, Lahore and Mulan. He also planted trees on both sides of the road and constructed rest houses. He had kept up mint houses to mint silver coin uniform in weight.